I'm gonna do two demos tonight, so bear with me. I normally just focus on one demo, so you guys are getting me in a very special occasion where I'm gonna try to do two. So bear with me. First thing I want to do is kind of give a little bit of a big picture about why some of this stuff is important, and I think that will be useful for kind of understanding why we're talking about these topics. So first of all, let's rock the block. Some local SEO and WordPress. I think that most of us, if we're business owners or we have a physical address or you're just getting into the game, one of the first things you do is sort of use Google My Business to set up and sort of claim your listing, claim your map listing. And if you're not familiar, Google My Business is the listing that shows up when someone types in the name of your business. It's the listing that shows up right here on the left for your business. And this comes up a lot. I mean, every business basically has a listing or not. It's a matter of if you claim it and you want to have access to it. My business I have is temporary closed because I haven't not been going in the office since March. So it ended up getting temporary closed, which is fine. So that is this is one thing we're going to talk about. This here is organic search. Like these are things that come up naturally with organic SEO. This I think is like step two. If you're looking at a search engine optimization strategy, you kind of focus on SEO and this kind of stuff in step two. But the very first thing most people do is focus on this listing here, which is Google My Business. And then finally, we're going to talk about how to create a little bit of a WordPress website to kind of optimize your business. And before we get too deep into that, I kind of want to take a little bit of a backstory into why the heck do you even need a website, right? Why do you need a website and how does it relate to your online marketing efforts? So the awesome thing about 2021, and this changes every single day, is that there are tons of opportunities to promote yourself these days. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I spend a ton of time on apps like Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube. I love YouTube. I'm creating lots of YouTube content. I've been doing some live streaming on YouTube, some live streaming on Facebook, and I know my wife loves TikTok. I'm not a big TikTok fan myself yet. I haven't used it that much, but TikTok is all the rage. And there's also an app called Clubhouse. It's just hitting it's a drop-in audio app called Clubhouse. It's an invite only mode. So if you're interested, I have a couple invites. If you're interested, I'd be happy to share that with you guys. I don't work for Clubhouse or anything. It's invite only to the app. But I want to point out that there are all these different places to market yourself or market your business, but still one of the most viable places to market yourself is through search. Okay. Because why are these platforms are great, but one thing they have in common is that they're all just megaphones. They're not going to be contextual search based advertising for your business. The thing I love about Google is that when someone searches for public relations firm Chicago or I need WordPress help in Chicago or something like that, my search keywords are there and I'm there to help them, right? It's contextual. And I know that people that are searching for my business want what I have to offer. Whereas I can create a bunch of content on these platforms like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all these and TikTok, and I can make videos, and yeah, I might get a lot of likes and stuff like that for the videos that I create because they're funny or they're engaging. But that's just what we call branding. Like that's no different than buying a TV ad in the news or buying a billboard on the highway. It's just gonna be branding. The people who see that ad may or may not want your business services. That's why SEO is one of the most important things as a new business or as a business owner to focus on if you're not already optimizing for search. Because at the end of the day, these stats are pretty recent from September, but Google, and they don't change that quickly, but Google owns 92% of the entire search world, right? So optimizing your business for Google search is key in a world where people search all day long. I know I'm always searching for something. If it's on Google, YouTube, Amazon, eBay, like I'm always searching for products and services I want. And most likely I'm going to go to Google first when I need a product or service. So in my opinion, creating a campaign for Facebook or creating a campaign for Twitter or Instagram or trying to get into TikTok, those are great. But the truth is Google search is probably the best place for you to invest your efforts if you're getting into the game or you want to increase what you have now, increase your business now, and increase it to your next level, to the next thing. So here are just some stats, some key points to consider. Number one, SEO optimization of content is more important than ever due to competition. One thing I have to say too is that SEO in 2021 is way different than what you maybe learned 5 or 6 or 10 years ago with SEO. Like it's a lot more competitive today than it's ever been. So optimizing your website and using platforms like WordPress to do it is more critical than it ever was, and it will continue to be in the foreseeable future. Number two, SEO is not free traffic. A lot of people think, oh, hey, I can just build a simple website and expect to get web traffic from Google, which I wish that was the case. But the truth is, it's a little bit more sophisticated than that. Obviously, there's lots of competition and there's lots of people who are probably doing it better than you right now. Unfortunately, I hate to be that bearer of bad news, but you have to be ready to, if you're going to do search engine optimization, I want you to know that optimizing your site for free traffic for search terms like, you know, Columbus dentist is not going to be that easy because there's lots of dentists who are already doing that, right? So you want to make sure that you understand that Google is not just free traffic. That's why I recommend starting with Google My Business, because Google My Business is the first sort of avenue into doing getting into those proper search terms, and optimizing your Google My Business listing is one of the best opportunities you can do to just start to get some free traffic, especially if you have a business with a physical mailing address or a physical location, like a dentist office or someone who actually has a physical place where I go to my business. And there's a lot of businesses like that. But ultimately, that's one of the best places to start. And finally, just keep in mind that search engine optimization, as well as all these other platforms, are part of a larger strategy. And I want to share that with you right now. So this is my strategy. It's called the digital acquisition cycle. And it is a 5 quadrant system that basically walks people through five. If you think of your users, right, the people who come to your business, they all enter here on the awareness side. Awareness is things that we do to generate visibility for our brand, and that could be as major as buying like an ad on TV. Let's say you want to advertise on the Columbus Evening News, right? You could buy an ad in the news, and that would generate lots of awareness for your business, but that doesn't mean they're going to come to your website. The goal is to get them to your website, right? So we have to do things that generates awareness for our business, and most likely today, in an internet-driven world, we're sending people and traffic. If we're going to advertise anywhere, we're going to advertise our business's website, our URL, right? Our domain name. We're going to put that in our advertising. So whether that's a billboard on the highway or a search engine optimization or SEO content, most likely people are going to land on your website. And once they get on your website, we want them to consider your products and services. We need to get up in their mind to make them want to make that purchase, right? To make them decide that, yes, you know, Maria, I'm going to pick on you because you're the one underneath you. Yes, Maria's got the product or service that I want, and I'm going to hire her to do my website, that kind of thing, right? So we have to really make sure that we use our websites properly to build consideration. And that's where the Gutenberg demo, the Gutenberg blocks within the WordPress editor, is where we can help build content to help drive that consideration phase, because ultimately we want people to convert, right? We want people to get onto our website and make some type of physical change, going from the unknown, not knowing who they are, into a qualified lead, getting their name, their phone number, their email address, so we can call them up and say, hey, you're interested in my products and services. Here's how you can purchase them. Or better yet, they go ahead and they purchase something directly off your website. You want to make sure that you're driving them to your conversion. And then finally, we want to retain them, right? We have to retain them. We have to keep them active. And on the orange side, this is focused on remarketing. This is truly where your social media marketing sits. Your Facebook content, your Twitter content, your YouTube content. This content is only good if you have people who actually are going to view it. Because I don't know about you guys, I post stuff on Facebook. I don't get a lot of views because Facebook is not about to give my content to people for free. Facebook wants me to pay for people to see my content, right? And ultimately, if I want to pay for people to see my content, Facebook no longer thinks of that as like, oh, hey, we're Facebook, we share content. No, if people, if people, if I want people to see my content, Facebook is like, okay, Scott wants to advertise his business, right? And if I'm advertising my business, what does that mean? It means I'm paying for it, right? And Facebook wants me to pay for it. So the idea of free social media traffic is not what it was 10 years ago. Get that out of your mind. If you're going to use Facebook ads or anything like that, it's on the acquisition side, it's on the blue side, and it's something you have to consider as part of an advertising campaign, not this idea of free traffic. And then finally, once we build people up, once we get people excited about our business, then we can turn them into advocates, and they can go and then do word of mouth, refer people to our business. So my point is with this whole system, and I'll drive you around one more time. Number one, someone finds your business through search. Let's say they do a search for front and social or for I don't know, WordPress help in Chicago. I used to rank on here. I'm not sure if I do or not, to be honest with you. It's been a while. But ultimately, let's just say that you're right here, Chicago WordPress training. This is one of my businesses. So let's just say someone finds me through my Google My Business listing. They find me here. So this is awareness building, right? This is awareness. They find me through search. They come to my website. Oops. They come to my website by clicking, oh, I'm missing my website address. I guess I need to check that out. But they come to my business by clicking website. Usually it says website. Let's look at here. Here we go. Like, let's say they find Content Academy, they hit website. So they come to my website, and this is where they have to make that consideration about my business. They have to decide if this is something I want to engage. And this is the beauty of WordPress, is that you can create dynamic landing pages to identify why people want to engage with your business. Once they're on my website, once they convert, the idea is to get them to buy something, maybe a small book, maybe they don't buy anything, maybe they just contact you for a lead, maybe they subscribe to your newsletter, whatever. Once we have them, then we have to continue to generate content that's going to keep them engaged, keep them excited, continue to build your authority with them, continue to show them that you're the expert at what you do, and then hopefully get them excited so much and they like you so much, they like your business so much that eventually they advocate for you. They share your content to their social media. Let's just say they share your recent blog post to their LinkedIn profile. So what happens when they share your content to their profile? More people fall into your funnel, right? Which is here. And then their friends and their family come in and they fall into your digital acquisition cycle, right? So sometimes you have to pay a little bit of money to get people in on the front end, because ultimately that's going to help drive enough business to build advocates that can go out and speak on behalf of your business, right? But this is the big picture. Let's scale this down a little bit into something that's a little bit more manageable to focus on right now. Number one, we want to set up a Google My Business listing, right? That's search. We want to get into search. We want to convert them. We want to build a landing page with WordPress. And then we want to make sure that content is where we deliver. Right? That's where we get paid. So ultimately, let's go through some of this little bit of a demo here. First things first, if you're looking to get into setting up a Google My Business listing, like some of the examples that I've showed you, here was the Content Academy listing. And a Google My Business listing is basically the name, the icon or the logo of your business, the address, and you're like, if you're a business with a physical location, maybe like a restaurant, something like that, you can add your menu, you can add your hours and your locations and that kind of stuff. And this will give you an idea of what people are looking for within the Google Maps or Google search content. First thing you need to do is go to google.com/business, check, and then you basically go to sign up. It's going to ask you, I already have listings, so it's hard for me to show you this, but you can go to add a single business. And then first thing you'll do is type in your business's name. You'll see that it's already there. It's not going to let me add another one because this business has already been claimed, but I add the name of my business. If I have a physical location, they're going to try to send me a code in the mail. It's like a 6-digit code that they mail to you, where you have to verify that yes, your business is there. Once you have that, your business listing looks something like this, where you can log in and then you'll see this profile here. And this is where I can actually manage my business's map listing essentially, right? I can say, what are my categories? I can add or change my address, although if you change your address, they're going to have to verify it again. So they're going to send you another verification code. I can add my hours. I can add special dates that, like, I'm closed. Like, for example, we're not open on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, right? So I can add those special dates, which is useful. I recommend going in there and adding those special dates as you can, because Google likes it when you keep this up to date. If you keep your profile like up to date and primed and trimmed, they'll love you for that. They'll give you more search engine visibility. So definitely keep your business listing up to date. You can do all kinds of cool stuff like add products and services that are related to your business. And then of course, like most Google things, they'll actually give you analytics for who has visited your business and where your listing appears in searches and that kind of stuff, and give you some actionable data that you can use to help optimize your business listing and use this to better prepare for what a potential customer might want to see. Here are some pieces of content you definitely want to add. For example, you can add your business's logo. You can add a business photo. And this is the stuff that people like to look at. For example, you can add photos of your interior of your business. You can add photos of the exterior of your business. And this is really helpful for people to see what it's like before they even visit your business. But let me see if I can pull up one of the examples that it's a little bit more set up here. Here's an example. It's a donut shop that we work with. And this is a fun one. They have all kinds of photos, and we obviously post. There's a lot of COVID updates right now too, because in Illinois, at least, they keep changing, like restaurants that can be open and restaurants that are closed and restaurant capacity limits and that kind of stuff. So we've been doing lots of updates to our Google My Business listings based on capacity limits and stuff like that. But for example, with this restaurant, they can list like where you can order food. Like for example, they use Grubhub or something like that, so they can order food. This is one of the keys of Google My Business. This is where customers leave reviews for your business. And you definitely want to check out the reviews and see what type of reviews they're leaving. Obviously, this is a donut shop that sells a bunch of sugar, so everyone loves donut shops, right? So it's easy to get 5-star reviews. But sometimes some of the other restaurants or some of the other listings that I have don't quite always get 5-star reviews. So it's always important to come in here. And obviously, this is something that we should look at here and reply to Jules and see what, if there's anything that we can do to correct and to make them have a 5-star review. We get some negatives because the donuts run. This is a craft baker. So they only make so many donuts every day. So if they run out of donuts, they're out of donuts for that day, and we get a lot of people who are upset because we're out of donuts, that kind of thing. But ultimately, it's really good to watch the reviews, because if you reply to negative reviews, that's going to help your SEO listings. It's going to help sort of show other customers that, yes, maybe this customer didn't have the best experience, but the company took enough time to at least reply to them and say, hey, we acknowledge that you didn't have a good time, and we want to do what we can to rectify your visit. There is a great app in the Google App Store and also the Android App Store for Google My Business. You can download the app and you can manage your business listings from your mobile device, which is helpful for business owners who are kind of on the go. I highly recommend that, especially for managing your reviews, that kind of thing. And like I said, keeping this up to date is one of the best things you can do to kind of keep your business up in the listings, because you want to make sure that your reviews are addressed. If you have a 1 or 2-star review, this is my personal opinion. I can't verify this because Google doesn't give this kind of information. But if you have a 1 or 2-star review, but you left a comment as a business owner, I feel like Google's algorithms actually give you more value to that than if you just left that 1 or 2-star review by itself. So definitely keep that in mind. Also, update your menus, update your listings, add photos as you can. And this is definitely some really good high quality stuff that you can use to manage your business. One thing you can actually do with Google My Business too is literally create a mini website right in Google My Business. And I'm a WordPress guy, so I'm always going to use WordPress, but you can potentially do this right in WordPress. Maria, did you have a question?
Yeah, I know you talked about how like there's a physical address. Are you going to talk about what to do if you don't have a physical address? Like where that code comes to you?
So yeah, so this is something that I struggle with, is when you have businesses that provide at-home services, or you have businesses that don't have a physical location. So there, it's I haven't done this recently, so if anyone has, please let me know. It used to be where you could set a service area saying I do, let's say, I know I worked with a heating and air conditioning guy, and he didn't have a physical location except for his own personal home, right? And he didn't really want to list his home as his business, right? So we actually were able to set a service location of like 30 miles around a zip code kind of thing. I have recently heard though that Google is changing that, and I'm not sure if that's completely gone or not. If anyone knows, let me know. But I feel like that is not as prominent as it used to be. But ultimately, you can do a service address. I recommend, if you're comfortable, I recommend using a physical address whenever possible, even if it's your home address, because it's way better than having no physical address. I do also have another client, and there are people that would I'm afraid we're recording this, so I'm afraid to say this on the record, but a lot of people also get like private mailboxes at like FedEx FedEx Kinkos and use that. I know there's lots of Google people who would hiss at me for saying that, like you're not supposed to do that. But if you can get any type of address and get mail there, then use that listing as a way to show your business. Honestly, a lot of my businesses are co-located with other friends and colleagues that I've said, hey, can I like use your mailing address for exchange for bartering and all kinds of stuff, because like they had really good addresses, and it's a way for me to get a listing, and they don't mind, so it works out. And we have businesses that help each other, not hurt each other, kind of thing. So however you can get business addresses, maybe co-working spaces, if it's within the terms of service of the co-working space, then you definitely want to try to get a physical address when you can. If you don't, then try to do the service address. Although I feel like that doesn't work that well. I've never seen it really work that great anyways, because no matter what, when you search for something, like let's just say HVAC guy near me, like it's like they all have addresses. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, but the service area thing actually is really legit anymore, but you can try, at least it's one step closer. So yeah,
There's no way to get the code if you don't
you have to have some address in there. They have to mail it to. Yeah, sometimes they can verify with a phone number, but if you don't, then a lot of times for new businesses, they don't do that. Yeah, Christina, go ahead.
I think they let you, I could be wrong. If it's either them or someone will let you, you can hide, you can have it confirmed to your home address, but you don't have to make it public.
Yeah. And that's the problem, is like when you don't have a physical address though, like I'm not seeing any of them here that don't have a physical address. So, and I know there's a bunch of guys that do it that don't have an address. So it's tough. I have friends that they just launched a at-home physical therapy service because of COVID, and they go to the client's house to do physical therapy sessions, but they don't have a physical address, and it's very difficult to make any SEO for that type of business without a physical address. So, they do have a private mailbox. It's in the town that they're targeting, but some would say that's not the best thing to do. So as you can, that's one thing. But most importantly, if you don't, you got to have Google My Business listing. Get the app, download it on your phone. Make sure that you optimize these as best you can. Make sure your hours are always up to date. Make sure your phone's up to date, and make sure that you're actively asking people for reviews, because reviews is like the fuel of a Google My Business listing. Be sure to go ahead and say, and there's a way to give them a link to your reviews. Let's see here. I know in the Google My Business dashboard, there is reviews, or maybe it's in the home. You can also create update posts. Like for example, we created a post, like if you're on Twitter or Facebook, you can create a status update, and this will show up in the Google listing as well. This is helpful with our COVID-19 updates, so as business operations fluctuate based on recommendations from our local health departments. But you can do COVID-19 updates. You can do special offers like buy 2 donuts, get 1 free kind of thing. And then also what's new, or you can promote events for your business. So a lot of really cool stuff that you can do in this dashboard. Ultimately, in my opinion, this is, if you're a business with a physical address, this is one of the most important things you can do, and add updates as you can. And let's see here, you can do a virtual tour. And let's see here, there used to be a way to get more reviews right here. Get more reviews. It says share review form. And this is the link. This is golden here, right? This is the link you want to share with your customers. If they come into your business, or you have their email address, you send them an email, you want them to come here and you want them to leave a 5-star review if they've had an excellent service. It gives them this nice little form that automatically lets them add that 5-star review with the review. If the more reviews you get, the better off you're going to be with this. I guarantee that. Like, there's no bad thing about getting reviews. Even if they leave a 4-star review or a 3-star review, honestly, it's better than no reviews. So just go with it. I think people they like to see kind of a balance of reviews. It's expected that not every business is going to have a 5-star experience every single time. So any review, in my opinion, is a good review, so long as you also reply back if you have a bad review. Go ahead, Maria. Yep.
So if you're doing a website, what strategy do you use for like doing testimonials on the website, or do you just put that code on the website and direct everybody there?
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to show you guys in the demo. That I think that one thing you could do is take that link and then literally design your website around that link for reviews and for testimonials. I did a little research for this. There is a plugin called Reviews, Rating and Reviews, Google My Business. And basically this will automatically pull customer reviews if you want to do all the Google, like if you want to get crazy with this and you want to do all this like integration with the Google API key and your places ID, like you can do this. I noticed that it doesn't have a native block editor integration. So you still have to use a short code in order to add these reviews, but it is an option for you. And that's not where I want to go. This is available in the WordPress plugin repository. So if you go to wordpress.org, you go to plugins and type in, I just typed in Google reviews. It is, I think it's, yeah, this one here. Google rating and reviews, Google My Business. And it's a cool way to showcase your reviews. And I will add a link to the chat if you guys are interested in checking out this plugin. Right here, I put it in the Zoom chat. So check this out. I was hoping there was going to be one that had a Gutenberg block automatically built into it, but it doesn't look like that exists yet because I'm hoping that would be nice for this demo. But ultimately, you can do this. Another thing you can do is take 1 or 2 reviews that you get from your everyday clients or your friends and family, however you want to source reviews. So put those on your site and then just put the button to your review page on your site too. So it doesn't have to be dynamic. So add 2 or 3 reviews and then hit the button so they can add their own review. I just set up a really quick, simple, where this is the default 2021 demo website, and this is my homepage right now. It's a really simple, kind of ugly, actually. I hate to say it, kind of ugly demo. I'm not a big fan of this theme, but the cool thing with the Gutenberg demo is that I can go in here and I can go ahead and start setting up my site. Because let's say you do launch a business and you want to sort of have something to promote what you've got going on. Remember we talked about the infinite loop? Well, if you have a Google My Business listing, you're going to need to create a website. To send those people to. So we want to go ahead and create something that people can actually learn about your services, get into consideration mode, and contact you to contact you to do some business, right? To give you their money. So that would be ideal, right? So first thing we want to do is we have a brand new website here. It's called Rock the Block Demo. It's at wordspaces.com. I just set it up as a subdomain kind of thing. But first thing I want to do is I want to click Add New Page, and this is a self-hosted version of WordPress, not WordPress.com. This is what is called WordPress.org, or the open source version, where you get your own hosting and you install WordPress and you do all those kind of goodies, if you will. I can get into that later if you guys don't know, if you guys would have more questions about that. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a home page. Okay, I'm going to click home page and hit publish. And then you'll see here that this page still has no content, right? So what I want to do, and if I go to the home page, it's not there. Like the home page isn't here. So what I need to do is I need to go into our settings back in the dashboard. I'm going a little quick because we're getting close to time here. So if you need me to cover something again, I will cover it. But we're also recording this too, right? So people can watch it again, right? Okay. So I created a new page called home. Now I need to go to settings and I need to go to reading. And I need to do is I need to select my home page. So I want a static page. I'm going to make my home page the home page. And now I hit save. And now if I go to Rock the Block demo, my home page is this blank page that we set up. Okay. It's weird that the bar's not there. I just noticed that the bar's not here. But okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to pages. I'm going to go to home page, edit. And this here is the Gutenberg, aka block editor. And this is what we call a WYSIWYG editor. So what you see is what you get. You can even see that now with the theme is green, right? We're getting the same color green and everything inside of this demo. And just like a lot of the other popular page builders like Divi and Elementor and Beaver Builder, it's sort of like based on columns and rows. I think Divi and Elementor and Beaver Builder are much more like, they have a lot more in terms of sections. You can create sections, columns, and rows. With Gutenberg, all you really have is columns and rows, right? So first thing we want to do is we're going to create a text box, right? So we have a text box right here, and this little button right here, and this little button up here, this is the add block button. And when you click this, you'll get a modal that pops up with all the different block options that are available. Paragraph is just simple text. An image, heading is the title, and gallery, that kind of stuff. They're kind of self-explanatory, except some of them are a little harder. Like this is like a poem verse. I think if you want to create a little poem verse, if you will. Media and text is a nice little block that has the media to the right and left. I'll show you some of these in a second. But here is where you have a little bit more what we call UI or user interface features like buttons, columns, groups, and so forth. So let's just say we're a new business and we're starting a site. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do welcome to our home page. We create donuts and they are tasty, right? Something stupid like that. That would be our home page title. Now this here, this is like a title. So we want to make this a heading. And if you click here, you can change this to heading. This is the little pop-up modal, heading. And then it's going to ask you what heading do you want. It doesn't really ask you, but it's here. So there's H1 through H6. Now, if you're familiar with web stuff, H1 is usually always the page title. And the page title for this page is called home page. So we wouldn't want to use an H1 because that's what this is. And this is for accessibility, for search engine optimization, and just for best practices reasons. We always want to make sure that our titles, our H2s are below. Now, the cool part about the block editor is that when you click on a module, or a block they call them, you get the options here on the left, okay? So here I can change the font size to gigantic or to, that's kind of a fun little thing, gigantic. Actually, I can't change this because this is a heading, but I can possibly override it. Yep, I hit reset. I can change the line height, and that's the spacing between lines, right? Spacing between letters. I can change the color if I want. Just make sure you keep your colors in high contrast ratios, like black to white, or something that's easier for people who maybe have visual disabilities. Don't use a lot of light grays or on whites if you don't have to, because like this is not a high enough contrast ratio. You can't even see it, nor would be this. This is a low contrast ratio. You want something like this, it's a very high contrast ratio. This makes it easier for people with visual disabilities to be able to see and interact with this text. This is bad, this is good, kind of thing. So you can keep writing. And of course, at some point, we're gonna want to visually tell our story. So if we click enter, we get a new line, and then we can click the plus icon and we can add an image. And this will let me manipulate my image. I can simply upload an image from my computer. Let's just see here. Let me just grab an image that I have on my computer here. So here's my image. It will upload it in like so, and I can move it around. Like, this is a cool thing with a block editor that wasn't so easy to do with the classic editor, is that now I can easily kind of just move my content around, like images and stuff like that. I can crop it. I can replace it with a different image, or I can even change the type of image block it is. But the cool thing is I can even do like rounded or framed or that kind of stuff. Like this is the kind of cool space that the WordPress Gutenberg editor is getting into, is having more features for content creators and content developers to do this stuff without having to do a lot of code or being stuck with whatever the theme provides only. Most importantly, you want to make sure you add an alternative text or an alt text, because again, for blind people, they can't see what a photo is, but you want to make sure that you write something that people can a screen reader could read. If someone with eyes wouldn't be able to read this. Also, search engines can't read images either, right? Search engines don't have eyes today anyways. So be sure to make sure you add an alternative text. And then you can, again, do stuff here to manipulate the image. Small, big, large, 100%. This is the block editor options. Now you'll notice here there's a tab, and this tab is the page options. So this is going to be everything on the entire page, including like, you know, the permalink, the featured image, like this is the link to the actual page, so on and so forth. There's no link to this because this is the home page, but you can keep adding, obviously continue to add content that's going to tell you a compelling story for your prospective clients. Remember I mentioned columns. Here's columns. We could do a 2-column layout. Right here, 50-50. I could maybe add another image here. Let's see here. Upload something. Here's a picture of me. How about that? Picture of me, maybe some more text on the left here, or quote. This is the best product since bread. How about that? Says no one. I'm just kidding. But either way, like, you could add quotes, you can do kind of that cool stuff. And even to the point where, let's say we do the columns, and this is where you could do the 3 columns, and this is where you could have your reviews, right? So you could have a quote, and this business is awesome. Says Jane Doe, right? I don't know, and you could keep going with this. And then here's where you had a button. This is kind of nice. It's got a little 2-button block here, or you could do a 3-column button thing. Oh, it's even got a module in it. How about that? That's pretty cool. You could just do that. Instead of having to create it, you can add one of the pre-existing patterns. I forgot there's patterns now too. I'm a Divi guy, so I do use Divi a lot, but ultimately I use Gutenberg too. But here we go. We can add our button. The button module. This is where we say, please leave a review. I love exclamation points. I know. I use them probably more than I'm supposed to, so don't tell the exclamation point police on me. But you have the button. You can add a link to it. You can do what type of style you want, fill or not fill. You can change the color. This is getting really sophisticated. I mean, this is way better than what it was a couple years ago. I tell you that. Much easier to use. It's going to compete with some of these big page builders. Actually, I want to say compete. I think it's going to complement some of these other WordPress themes that are out there. But you can go ahead and add the link here. So this would be my Google My Business reviews page. Let's see here. Oh, I didn't save that. Here it is. No, that's not it. But regardless, let's just say that's it. So support.google, whatever. You can add the button, and you click update. You click view page, and here is the start of a home page, right? Or here's the start of a page. And if you don't have any website at all, this is definitely one way that you could build a website. You don't need anything other than a WordPress site, a URL, like a domain name, which costs $12.99, a WordPress site, which you can get WordPress hosting for about $60-$70 a year. And you could use the Gutenberg theme and the 2021 theme. And there you go. You got a website going. Obviously, there's a lot of, as you all know, because a lot of you are developers, there's a lot more skill and tact that goes into building a powerful website. But at the end of the day, if this is all you got, this is one thing you can do to kind of get into the game, get some local SEO going, rock the block, and really take advantage of some of these content features that are already made available to you in the Gutenberg editor. So this is what I was going to say. I persist until I succeed, right? Do a little bit every day, but make sure you're doing the right things. So it's always good to work with a mentor. It's always good to work with someone who can help you build an optimization mindset, especially with SEO, that kind of thing. I say the best way to learn SEO is to go out there and do it, and make mistakes, because that's how you learn. That's what you know. Obviously, follow the people on Twitter, follow them on LinkedIn, the people who kind of share this stuff, because they'll give you good tips and tricks. Twitter just launched a new podcast. I'm sorry, not Twitter. Google Webmasters just launched a new podcast for SEO, and it's by Google. And it's like called Search Something. Behind the Search, I believe it's called. So be sure to check that out. Subscribe on your podcatcher service of choice. And then finally, I love to get tips and tricks. So a little self-promotion here, but this is completely free. I'm doing lots of good videos on, at least I think they're good videos on YouTube. If you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/C Sense Content Academy, you can check out all the YouTube videos. And I do quite a bit of WordPress stuff too. Here's a WordPress video. So be sure to check that out. And then finally, thank you. There's my contact info. So if you guys have any questions or follow up, please let me know. I'm happy to show more of the Gutenberg editor, but it's really kind of one of those things where I recommend playing with it. I hate to say it, but there's lots of really cool modules, lots of content opportunities. You're going to probably swear a few times when you're learning how to use it, but once you know it, you'll be like, oh, that was so easy. So, but in the meantime, if you have questions or you have something in particular, feel free to email me. I'd be happy to help out as best I can.